With whole new visuals, updated audio and minorly tweaked gameplay, this remaster of a beloved 90s action-adventure comes shuffling into the 21st century. But nostalgia alone doesn't make it a great game. You are Sir Daniel Fortescue, a resurrected knight who must fight against the evil sorcerer Zarok, who has unleashed dark magic across the land of Galamir. The dead walk the earth, demons stalk the forest, and people have become possessed. Only you can undo the chaos and return the world to normal, even though no one believes you can actually do it. You see, you have been hailed as the hero of Galamir, who defeated Zarok 100 years ago in battle, despite you falling on the first charge by an arrow to the eye. Barely 15 seconds into battle. And the characters around you know it, constantly belittling you and calling you out as a fraud. The only way to prove them wrong is to do what you couldn't all those years ago, defeat Lord Zarok. And your journey begins in the crypt you were laid down to rest, with anthropomorphic gargoyles insulting you at every turn.
It has risen again!
Get used to it, it doesn't get easier. From graveyards, enchanted forests, to pirate ghost ships and insane asylums. The game rewards you for replaying levels. Each one contains a golden chalice that, when you collect and complete the level, you are transported to the Hall of Heroes, where you'll be introduced to another legendary hero and given new weapons, health or money. Collecting all the golden chalices is well worth your time. Not only are the interactions between Sir Dan and the other heroes hilarious, the new weapons and health vials make the later levels much easier. Almost to the part if you didn't have them, completing the game would be nigh on impossible, because the game's level of difficulty ramps up towards the end, almost unfairly so, but it mainly comes down to the combat and platforming mechanics. Each level has been lovingly embellished with a charm and atmosphere that most games fail to create. Other Ocean Interactive, the developer behind this remaster, were tasked with bringing this neglected and almost forgotten masterpiece to the current generation. With their previous efforts involving ports of popular games, the team was more than qualified to handle this endeavour. But, as powerful as nostalgia is, it doesn't automatically make a great game. It will always be a victim of the standards that were present 21 years ago. The original, as fun and charming as it was, had major issues when it came to its combat and platforming mechanics. Feeling like success was due to pure luck and perseverance most of all. But it's great to see that other Ocean Interactive have addressed these concerns, aligning them with the expectations of today, but it seems as if these haven't been improved enough. The combat and platforming still feels stiff and difficult to pull off successfully, and oftentimes leading to an infuriating experience. One issue that I experienced several times was with the completion of one of the levels. Within this level there are 2 requirements to complete it. If the player completes both end level cutscenes will begin to play over each other and removes the reward of the golden chalice, forcing the player to complete the level again, but careful not to complete both requirements.
As a reward, I can grant you passage to the Hall of Heroes. I've never been there myself, but I've heard they got a free
covered into cabbage smack.
Combat and platforming is not where this game shines. Where it does shine is in its atmosphere. The developers have faithfully recaptured the magic of the original while updating its visuals and audio in a mixture of original and newly created assets. While updating the visuals, nothing has been lost, only added. By reusing the original voice recordings and only re-recording sparingly, it perfectly preserves the humour and allure.
Fortescue, you jawless arrow magnet!
Feeling like a mixture of Terry Pratchett's wit and humour with Tim Burton's spookiness and accompanied by a Danny Elfman-esque score, it is the perfect representation of kid-friendly fantasy horror from the 90s.
Thank you for releasing me, sir. My people wish only to live our lives in blissful harmony with nature.
Each of the characters feel unique, fully realised and distinctly British. which, as it turns out, the original developers were based in Cambridge, England. Development on the original began in 1995 at Millennium Interactive under the working title Dead Man Dan, and was originally conceived as an arcade-style shooter for Windows and Sega Saturn, but Sony's purchase of SCE Cambridge evolved it into the PlayStation exclusive we all know and love today. Upon release, the game received mostly positive praise, but it was criticised for its lacklustre controls and camera work. The game's success was boosted by a new method of distribution and consumer exposure, mostly exclusive to the PlayStation at the time: the demo disc. Many fans were exposed to the game by its timed demo. In England, this was released in official PlayStation magazine number 38, and has gone on to receive infamy amongst collectors. Speaking of collections, the deluxe edition is mainly for fans of the music and artwork. Boasting a digital art book and videos of the orchestra performing the score, a bonus feature aimed at music fans for sure. So in summary, this is a game that is super fun, super atmospheric, and just a little challenging. It's a perfect example of gaming in the 90s and feels like a legacy that was somehow lost in the console wars of the 90s and 2000s.